operating track. The history here is just phenomenal.
This is the Milwaukee Mile. Since they began racing here in 1903, this has been a motorsports mecca for so many in the upper Midwest. Today it's the third annual ARCA Fest. And as they have done in previous years, the Mid-American Stock Car Series plays an important role here in this ARCA Fest, an event that brings thousands to the Milwaukee Mile. Young first-time Milwaukee Mile racers in attendance, as well as seasoned veterans, drivers who have gone to victory lane, and everything in between make up this impressive field. I'll be calling all the action for you on pit road, and I'll bring you up close and personal to the top finishers in today's 35-lap main event.
Thanks, Dean. The Mid-American Stock Car Series is the nation's top touring series for GM metric chassis cars, and this is their Daytona 500, their Indy 500, all rolled into one at the biggest track these guys will see all year. They're going to line up 4 wide on a parade lap here at the Milwaukee Mile before going back to a 2-wide start. You can see the hands coming out the window to wave to the crowd. Adam Benzik in the 21B is on the pole. He's alongside Jeremy Bloomberg in car number 18. He's been fast during practice. Dan Gilster, always a front runner in number 23. And Kevin Gentile in car 2G. He's on the outside of row 2. Ryan Gutnick and Brian Holtz in row 3. Rick Corso in the 88R, and last year's winner, Mark Plur, in the 54 make up row 4. Brad Keith, the current reigning champion, and Lyle Nowak in row 5. Jeremy Spoonmore, the 2012 Series champion, in row 6 alongside Bill Preetzel. Jeff Holtz in the 38J has been on a tear this year. And row number 7 has also got Rick Tackman Jr. on the outside. Our last televised show from WIR, he was one of the winners there. Jack Stern and Scott Dunning in row 8. Bobby Gutnick in row 9 alongside David Verhagen Jr. in the 0V car. Row 10 is Eric Buchholz in the 42, and Cody Erdman starts outside row 10. Row 11 is Eric Pierce and Kenny Justin in that green and white number 47. Row number 12, the black and white number 80 of Dusty Krebs and Greg Beebe in the 98. Row 13, a pair of Hoosiers, Tim Fulford in the 21F, and the Impact by Mastercraft Bochette Timepieces car of Stephen Cox. And row number 14 is Ben Glasscock in the 83, and Ken Calhoun starts outside row number 14 for a very, very full field. Now let's take a look at the keys to the race here at the Howie Leto Memorial at the Milwaukee Mile. First of all, we have a very full field. The car count here is huge, a full grid. You're going to be racing side by side all day long. Secondly, the track is a 1-mile oval. It's the largest venue on the schedule. Practice speeds well over 140 miles an hour on the straightaway. The tires are all Hoosiers, 8 inches wide. There are no pit stops. You better take care of the right rear tire if you want to see victory lane here at the Milwaukee Mile. The number 21 of Adam Benzik will lead the field toward the green flag. Our flag man, Dave Sankey, will take a really good look. They talked about this in the drivers' meeting. They want a good side-by-side start. The 18 on the outside is driven by Jeremy Bloomberg. And they come up through the gears, and we are green at the Milwaukee Mile. Into turn number 1, the 21B of Adam Benzik trying to hold on, but Bloomberg looks really strong on the outside, and there is plenty of racetrack out here for these cars. It's very, very wide, well over 140 miles an hour on the straightaways, and there's a lot of space for the drivers to be able to maneuver. You can see Bloomberg trying the high side, trying to see if he can have the honor of actually leading from the outside pole here at the first lap of the Milwaukee Mile, and I think he's going to do it. That's a big, full, fast field of cars, and down in turn number 1, you've really got a little bit of a blind corner, believe it or not, going past the pit wall into turn 1, and Benzik will drop back to second place. Bloomberg will take the lead, and we jump on board with last year's winner. That's the 54 car of Mark Plur. Now that white car, that number 88 on the inside, that belongs to Rick Corso out of Illinois. They're running side by side, trying to work their way up through the field. You can hear Plur let off the gas. The idea at these ovals with these heavy stock cars is to let off the gas once per corner and get back on it once per corner. You don't want to drive it like a sprint car sideways. It's all about touch and feel. Jeremy Bloomberg is your leader here at the Howie Leto Memorial. Back in just a moment.
Short track drivers across America have a thirst for power. They need reliable power. They need affordable power. They need power backed by experience, proven by championships, supported by experts. They need the power to win. McGonigal Engine Performance delivers power. Every track, every class, every weekend. McGonigal Engine Performance, the power to win.
The National Museum of the United States Air Force and the Great War Airplanes Association is proud to present the 9th World War I Dawn Patrol Rendezvous. It's a weekend extravaganza featuring vintage World War I aircraft, period reenactors, antique automobiles, and exacting detail remote control aircraft. The event takes place September the 27th and 28th at historic Wright Field in Dayton, Ohio.
Mid-American Stock Car Racing is brought to you by Impact, by Mastercraft Safety, and by Hoosier Racing Tire. Welcome back to the Howie Leto Memorial at the Milwaukee Mile, where the number 18 of Jeremy Bloomberg has pretty much checked out on everybody and really putting on a fine show here. And this is such an interesting and such a fun track to drive, especially for these guys that are used to quarter miles and half miles. The 21 of Adam Benzik is in second place. You get a good look there at the 23 as well. That is Dan Gilster out of West Salem, Wisconsin. He's not far from home. So we've got a good battle going on up front, but Bloomberg really is kind of the surprise of the day so far, really looking strong in that blue and black number 18. A lot of different ways to get into turn number 1, but turn number 2 is a very tight pinch. It doesn't look that way when you're out on the racetrack, but it sure comes up very quickly when you come out of turn 2 and see that wall approaching. Now, the 88 of Rick Corso has just pulled into pit lane. Now, he was coming up into 5th, maybe 6th position, battling with Mark Plur just moments ago. So we're going to have to check in with him just a few moments. Maybe Dean Strom can catch up with him and find out what was wrong with that number 88 machine that took him out. But here's what's very interesting. With the retirement of the Corso machine, that leaves the 54 of Mark Plur in a really nice battle right now with the 48, that's Brad Keith, and the 38J, that's Jeff Holtz. That's the battle for 6th place. And these guys, all three of them heavy hitters. Jeff Holtz can just do no wrong this year. He's already posted wins at least 2 different speedways. And of course, the 48 car is last year's champion, that's Brad Keith. But right now, it looks to me like Jeff Holtz is just on a tear out there. He's running the low line better than anybody else. He started back in 13th position and is taking over 6th right now. Now let's jump on board with the number 54 car of Mark Plur. He was the champion at the Howie Leto Memorial here last year, and nobody knows how to drive this track better.
Yeah, it's like there's not 4 corners, but there's 8, because you go in and then you kind of coast and you want to get on the throttle right away, but I think you should wait, roll through it a little bit, getting the car in the right track position to get on the throttle hard to get out. That's how you're going to win here.
And really, if you're not flat-footing the throttle as hard as you can about halfway through turn number 3, you're not driving the track right in a Mid-American stock car machine. Believe it or not, you can actually ride all the way through turn 4 with your foot flat on the floor at 125 to 140 miles an hour and just float the car up toward the wall. Let's check in with Dean Strom.
Rick Corso out early. What put you out?
I think we had a little bit of motor problem. We started losing a little bit of speed there, and then I just said, that's it, shut it down. They were passing me. She's starting to lock up.
How disappointing is this to come to the Milwaukee Mile and out early?
Yeah, it is disappointing. It was good all weekend long, and it's just one of those deals, and it's another one of those years in Milwaukee Mile that I have something good and something bad happens, but we're bringing home in one piece, and we'll continue to race it on.
Rick Corso, the 1999 Mid-American Stock Car Series champion, out early at the Milwaukee Mile here this afternoon.
Thanks, Dean. Yeah, that is a shame. He had a really nice car here today. Now, let's refer back to something we were talking about earlier and look at the number 18 car. Right now, he is flat on the floor while he's still in the corner at really high speeds at Milwaukee. Turn number 4 facilitates that very easily. You can take a look at the field. You see that just about everybody has somebody that they're nose to tail with and racing, because we have so many people that want to turn out and get a shot at driving this historic racetrack. You're on board with Scott Dunning, who had a fantastic showing at Wisconsin International Raceway just a few weeks ago, but today he's struggling back in 17th.
Scott, it's been a long day so far here, hasn't it? I understand you changed the power plant.
Yes, well, yesterday we got out for about 5 laps the first session. Unfortunately, their motor let go. We had a little bit of an issue with that last year, and you don't think of something like that's going to happen, but you always got to prepare for it. Luckily, there's a lot of our fellow competitors who came and chipped in. We actually borrowed a motor from Bobby Gutnick, and we're going to have that under the hood here today, and I'm looking forward to it.
What are your impressions so far? You haven't had a lot of track time. What are your impressions so far of the Milwaukee Mile?
I love this place. Like everyone keeps saying, it's our Daytona 500, and it feels like it. These cars punch a big hole in the air, and when you get up by the wall, you can really feel the wind buffering it around. It's something that you didn't think you'd be able to experience, but you get to get out here and have a good time and enjoy yourself and be competitive with all these great drivers out here.
Back at the front of the field, it's the number 18 of Jeremy Bloomberg, still shocking the field. Now, there's some very heavy hitters coming up behind him. You got Mark Pleurer, you got Jeff Holtz, you got a bunch of fast people out there, and so far, Jeremy is holding every one of them off, but keep an eye on Jeff Holtz. He's up from 13th to 2nd place.
Short track drivers across America have a thirst for power. They need reliable power. They need affordable power. They need power backed by experience, proven by championships, supported by experts. They need the power to win. McGonigal Engine Performance delivers power. Every track, every class, every weekend. McGonigal Engine Performance, the power to win.
Mid-American Stock Car Racing is brought to you by McGonigal Engine Performance, the power to win, and by Bochette Timepieces, high-grade, quality-made timepieces. We are past the halfway point of the Howie Leto Memorial at the Milwaukee Mile for the Mid-American Stock Car Series, and the number 18 of Jeremy Bloomberg continues to pull off what could be a stunning upset if he could hang on to the first place position. The only real challenge he's had all day has come from the 38 of Jeff Holtz. Jeff finished in 3rd position here last year, and while we continue to watch the battle for the lead, Jeff's brother Brian almost won the race last year and has a very good handle on how to drive these unique metric chassis cars.
Yeah, you just got to be consistent. You got to drive it in hard, but not too hard and overdrive the car. That's what I did last year. I kept seeing people in my mirror, and I was driving it harder and harder, and I should just drove my race and screwed up and drove it too hard and lost a lot of position, you know. Yeah, you're in the gas a lot longer, and it's hard to judge, man. I mean, you go into the corner with such force, you know, it's tough, you know.
What's the key here, the one key? If you had to do one thing well today, what would it be?
Be consistent and drive it in hard, you know. I have a consistency of the driving in too soft, you know. You gotta drive it in, let the car drive out. The faster you drive it in, it seems like the better it is, you know.
So Jeff Holtz in the 38J has taken the lead, the only lead change so far of the day, and right there is a good look at the gap between first, second, and third. Now we're hearing rumors that Scott Dunning in the 132 car has engine issues. Let's jump on board and listen carefully. Yeah, that's more than engine issues. In fact, he is going to drop to the inside coming out of turn number 2. That means he's probably headed onto the backstretch rear entry into the pits. That's exactly what he's going to do. Scott Dunning's day is going to officially be over. We hope to be able to check in with Dean Strom and find out what happened, but he has had a tough weekend. Back at the front of the field, Jeff Holtz once again looking very, very strong as we near the end of the Howie Leto Memorial at the Milwaukee Mile. Now, right here is the point where you really have to be careful on the throttle. Jeff is feathering the throttle because the car floats all the way out toward the turn 2 wall. And again, that's a real tough pinch for these cars coming off of turn number 2. Driving into turn number 3, a lot of cars, you'll see them diamond the corner between 3 and 4, but not Jeff Holtz. He's running very strong on the low side. By this time, you're already flat back on the floor, and that is a lap with your leader. And there's a look at the gap all the way back to Jeremy Bloomberg in second place. Now let's check in with Dean Strong.
Scott Dunning, it's been a long weekend with an engine change and now out early. What happened?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we had a plug wire go bad. Something you don't think is going to happen, but we were just kind of holding steady there. And when I got on the gas, it started cutting out real bad. And since this is a loaner motor, I wanted to make sure that I brought it in here and got it back safe. So we'll take a look at it, get it solved, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
That's Scott Dunning out early. Long weekend for the driver of the number 132.
Action all the way around this racetrack for nearly every position being contested, and now the 38 is starting to slow just a touch, and I hear we have a spin. Let's look in turn 4. We should see at any moment the number 21F of Tim Fulford is reported. Yep, there he is right there in the pink and white, number 21F. He's sideways between turns 3 and 4. Now let's take a look at the number 22 car with Stephen Cox, and let's see what happened. It spun right in front of the 22. A big, long, slow slide. There's the 22 getting through safely along with the 47 of Kenny Justin, and that explains why we are under yellow right now. Top right of your screen, pink and white car, Tim Fulford, again safely back underway. We're under yellow, and it's time for us to take a look at the Impact by Mastercraft Minute with Dean Strong.
The Milwaukee Mile was originally a privately owned horse track. Four-wheel horsepower took over in 1903, and auto racing at the Milwaukee Mile has not stopped. In fact, this track is the oldest continuously operated motorsports facility in all the world. When you look back at the history books, you see that just about every great American racer has turned laps here at the Milwaukee Mile. A.J. Foyt went to Victory Lane so many times here, they renamed Victory Lane A.J. Foyt Victory Lane. The Mid-American Stock Car Racing has been racing here at the Milwaukee Mile off and on since the mid-1990s. In the field today, former mile winners Bill Preetzel, Bobby Gutnick, and last year's winner, Mark Pleurer. 6 former series champions are in attendance with a host of hungry young drivers. Drivers like Brad Keith, Jeremy Spoonmore, Jack Stern, Jeff Holtz, and more, all trying to end their day here at A.J. Foyt Victory Lane and the historic Milwaukee Mile.
Thanks, Dean. We are still under yellow here at Milwaukee. Jeff Holtz in the 38J leads the field down to score another lap in the Howie Leto Memorial. Jeremy Bloomberg, Dan Gilster, Brad Keith, Adam Benzik running fine races. But does anybody have anything for the 38J? We'll find out when we come back.
The National Museum of the United States Air Force and the Great War Airplanes Association is proud to present the 9th World War I Dawn Patrol Rendezvous. It's a weekend extravaganza featuring vintage World War I aircraft, period reenactors, antique automobiles, and exacting detail remote control aircraft. The event takes place September the 27th and 28th at historic Wright Field in Dayton, Ohio.
Mid-American Stock Car Racing is brought to you by Impact, by Mastercraft Safety, and by Hoosier Racing Tire. We are ready to go back to green at the Howie Leto Memorial. Just a handful of laps remaining, and the 18 of Jeremy Bloomberg needed a good restart to have any shot at all at Jeff Holtz in the 38, and he just didn't get it. He's 2 or 3 car lengths back. In fact, he's being pressured for second place right now. Let's recap the race for you, because we had the 21 of Adam Benzik start on the pole alongside the 18 of Jeremy Bloomberg. Both of those guys still running in the top 5, still putting on a fantastic show, but nobody could hold back the 38J of Jeff Holtz, who started inside row 7, all the way back in 13th position, and he came forward to take over the lead just before the yellow flag came out just moments ago. The white flag is coming out right now, so 1 lap to go for your leader, and back in the pack, the battle for 10th. You saw the 74 and the 54 squeeze each other. Mark Pleur in the 54 actually got into the wall with less than a lap to go. This is the battle for 10th. The 95 of Jeremy Spoonmore is right in front of him. This is maybe the most heated battle on the track right now. As Spoonmore, Pleur, and Tackman battle for 10th place, let's jump back up front. Coming out of turn number 4 is Jeff Holtz with his hand in the air. The checkered flag comes out, and Holtz wins the Howie Leto Memorial at the Milwaukee Mile. And what an enormous battle we had back there for 10th place. I think Spoonmore came out on top. We'll give you the full field rundown in just a few minutes. But there is the 38 of Jeff Holtz. The 18 of Jeremy Bloomberg comes up alongside to congratulate him, and he is the only guy who had any kind of a shot at the 38J of Jeff Holtz, who takes it to victory lane. And now at the start-finish line will give us a nice series of burnouts. Now let's recap Jeff Holtz's season, because it's kind of amazing. I mean, he came out at Rockford Speedway in the first Mid-Am race of the year and won. He also won this Milwaukee Mile race. That's round number 4 in the Mid-Am Stock Car Series for 2014. However, in the other 2 races, at Wisconsin International Raceway, he finished 3rd. At Hawkeye Downs, he finished 5th. So either way you cut it, Jeff Holtz has just had a dominant season. Let's catch up with Dean Strom.
Jeff Holtz, fast time this afternoon, and you come back with the checkered flag. Wow, this car was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, this car is a very good car on big tracks. I really like it. I wish all the tracks were on big tracks, or all the races were on big tracks. But, man, this sucker was hooked up today, I got to say.
How was the car coming through the pack? After the invert, you started 13th. Take me through that, coming through the pack.
One at a time, and for some reason this car stuck to the bottom, and I could get under them, and it would hook up off the bottom and just keep on going. You know, I couldn't ask for a better car, I'll tell you that.
You're from this area, the Milwaukee Mile, A.J. Foyt Victory Lane. How does it feel to be here?
This is just awesome. This is probably one of my biggest wins that I've ever had, and I can't ask for a better weekend. And I got to thank everybody that's helped me. I mean, my sponsors, my help. We got Greater Milwaukee Auto Auction, Barker's Reconditioning. My brother, I can't thank him enough. It's actually his car. He let me drive it, so without him, I wouldn't be here. I can't be happier than I am right now. It's pretty awesome.
Jeff Holtz, the winner here at the Milwaukee Mile. Jeremy Bloomberg, you come home in the 2nd position today. Tell us about your run.
Gave it everything I had. He was just fast. When I saw him coming, I had to move over, let him go. I'm just happy where I finished with 2nd. I came here with expectations of just to see if I make the invert, run a good race, and take it home in one piece, and we over-exceeded everything that we came to do, so I'm very happy with that.
Dan Gilster, you started 3rd, finished 3rd. The history books will show it wasn't a very eventful day, but I'm sure it was a lot more eventful, wasn't it?
It was pretty eventful. It was hard to hang on to 3rd. Brad Keith gave me a heck of a challenge. I couldn't get off at 2. I had to run the car high, and he could get in, but he was having problems getting off too. So just a great day. Compared to last year, this car was its first time out. It wouldn't run. I think we finished right in the back. So I'll take 3rd. It's something to build on. This is our Daytona, so hopefully next year Mid-America is on the schedule again at the Milwaukee Mile.
Actually, Dan, you're going to take second. Good news for you, but terrible news for Jeremy Bloomberg. We found out just moments ago from series officials that he had some internal engine parts that failed technical inspection. So Jeff Holt, your winner. Dan Gilster moves up to second, Brad Keith in third. And what a day we have had at the Milwaukee Mile, round 4 for the Mid-American Stock Car Series 2014 campaign. Thanks so much for joining us. We will see you again very, very soon on Southwick Motorsports TV.